Hey guys, I was scrolling on YouTube as usual, and I thought to myself, what's the lore of Scary Baboon? So I searched up, and they were pretty outdated. Since then, there's been a lot more changes. We know a bunch of new stuff. So in this video, I shall be explaining to you what I think the lore is, and most of these have came from files scattered around the map. Like this one, where it talks about the baboons, intelligent baboons, which is where the first part comes in. Because if we literally go, if we go, bada bing, bada boom, to this case file, we learn about the monster, but it's not the monster I care about. Look, a bioengineered virus designed to spread among enemy soldiers. Keep that in mind. This is, and if the audio logs are true, that I've heard, we are here because the facility wants to make strong baboons, intelligent baboons, as we saw over there. So, where do I go? So yeah, they were making these monsters. Well, I bet they weren't trying to actually make them monsters. That they just turned out horribly. They looked like monsters, but they made us to go to war, to win the war, and all this. Now, before I continue, I just want to let you know the place where all of Scary Baboon takes, and by all I mean the main place, this whole lab, is called Lab Sector C. Lab Sector C, Lab Sector C is where all the stuff happens. This is where all the experiments have gone on, and yeah, and here's why all of this is happening. This is why all the monsters escaped. So, if we look back at the file, we learn that in the process of making us stronger, they made us rebellious. Now, this was definitely on accident. And we know Lab C, basically, something let out all the monsters, basically caused havoc, killed a bunch of people. And I think the person who did that is us. We're the ones who broke them free because we were tired of being experimented on. And also, I should have said this later, but all the people I watched law, they all said, oh, the baboons were scientists. But with the case files, we know that's not the thing at all. But we're the experiments. We're the ones who are getting experimented on, and the reason it made us rebellious. So we let out all the monsters. This is our fault that everything's going on. Monsters were let out by us, and therefore killed a bunch of people. Therefore, putting Lab C dangerous place. Therefore, we get this note. Attention, urgent meeting today due to an emergency situation. Of course, that is our rebellious monkey baboons setting the monsters free. Everyone must lock the doors. By that they mean these buttons. And assemble in the main hall. Please ensure the doors are closed behind you. This is required. So basically, they moved all the scientists, all the workers, into one huge area. Did they die? We don't know. Yeah? Okay. Anyway, as I was continuing on, basically, all the scientists are now in a room. Okay, I'm getting off track here, but these are these are the thingy. These are Kane Pixel's backroom rules. Also, Oh, that's just like everyone. Yeah. So, lit back on track. So, which means that there is a very high chance there are still workers and scientists in this building right as I'm talking about them in this moment. Now, are they alive? Are they dead? It would be pretty cool to see them dead, but yeah, it would be. I'm not sure if they are dead. And also, I would also like to talk about one of the levels because this actually has lore behind it. The surface. Now, in the case files, we learn that the surface is like connected to Lab C, and in that case file, with that lore, and the case file over here, we know that some baboons actually managed to escape and went to the surface, which is like why they're here, why we're allowed to play in the surface. We were one of the few baboons to escape, and the surface even helps the theory of a war, because look, the surface is all destroyed. It's like a desert, toxic wasteland. So of course a war was happening. It would look like a beautiful and peaceful society if it wasn't having something big and dangerous going on. So that's the whole lore behind Surface. Now, Beaver Monster. Beaver Monster is literally the experimentations taking place. So, if you don't know how Beaver Monster works, one baboon is chosen out of a bunch of baboons, given a serum they have to inject themselves in, and they basically become a monster. Now, this serum is, in this case file right here, called the glycon serum. Now, in the glycon serum, it doesn't mention who you are, but the main person everyone transforms into in Beaver Monster, the default monster, is the Tweaker. But I don't really know much about the Tweaker, but what we do know is that there's monsters like Big Larry and Black Goo that you can transform into. So I'm theorizing that not only is there a glycon serum, but there's a bunch of other serums that they're using to transform us into these monsters, with the sole exception of Meat Man, most likely. Maybe. I don't really know. I feel like there's something different going along with Meat Man, considering the fact that Meat Man is, like, practically completely different from the rest. He's, we got his own Meat Man halls, we got the, what was the other place? Um, we got the those dining rooms where they're serving meat, the same meat in Meat Man. So my thing, which is most likely a long shot, is if they feed a baboon enough of these meat, that baboon becomes a Meat Man, which is why we see multiple Meat Mans. In this, we see only two, Meat Man and Meat Man Fast. So I'm guessing the more meat you eat, the stronger, faster you get. Also, I would just like to say some things in this game are for fun, like Meat Man Oasis. There's no real lore behind it because it's supposed to be just a place. I've never seen that before. Yep. So, what else should I talk about? I also just like to mention City is very obviously fake. They Like, also, here's some. I'd just like to discuss some things I don't understand. Maybe in the comment section you can talk to me about them. First of all, why is pools here? Like, maybe they're used for the leisure of the scientists and workers. Maybe they're used to train the baboons. Training the baboons, I wouldn't really understand because there's like literal slides you can slide down as, which doesn't make sense because that doesn't really feel like something you would train a monkey with. Monkey and baboon is the same thing, okay? So, uh, hmm. I guess I should talk about the monsters. Now, all the info I know comes from the files. Now, the files, like this one over here. But I'll basically just simplify the files down, and only the files I know. So, the unknown is uncontained, which is kind of weird because we see him in there, but in the file, it is also explained that he disappears and reappears whenever he likes, which would honestly be quite weird. And all the scientists, all like those guys, theorize that somehow the unknown is from the future. Honestly, I would like some explanation for that. And oh, no, I did not mean to do that. What was I talking about again? Oh my, no, I did not mean to press limited time Xmas bundle. Um, uh, oh yeah, unknown. Uh, that's all really from unknown. He's from the future and all that stuff. Eh. Also, something I don't really understand is why do we have cosmetics? Now, this might be something like Meat Man Oasis, where it's just something like they added into the game, like not has any connection lore-wise. Because like, why do they have McDonald's worker clothes on there? Although the faces, I feel like, are something they genetically like. Okay, no, that's a long shot. No. Also, what a dog doing? Like, why is he here? So, what's something else I can explain more on? The tech tree, that's just them being technologically advanced. There's a cafeteria, obviously not for us. Oh yeah, the forest. Basically, the whole point of the forest is there's a cult. And basically, if you collect these items, then a really dangerous monster that can teleport spawns. So yeah, we got some sort of cult slash religion thing there going on. And as we can see, a lot of them did sacrifices. Although something else it could be is it could be war. Like maybe they did this in the war. Although I feel like it's definitely more of a just style. I'm pretty sure it's just cultists and that stuff. As we can see, there's a bunch of monsters. No, there's one specific monster I will focus on. There's a monster made. Oh! There's a monster made with a bunch of baboon skeleton heads. And I theorize that guy is probably a monster revived and using the bones of a bunch of dead members of the cult or workers. Now, oh, there's some piece of information there I might be able to. Yeah, summon the beast and basically end the world. All spooky dooky scary stuff. Just show like cult, but like they're in a cult. This is obviously where it takes place. No. Oh, is that the monster? Yeah, that was the monster I was talking about. Those little white things, those are the heads of victims. Oh yeah, the creature's name is the Watcher. Like that lag spike. So yeah, they're summoning this Watcher. Also, I'm not sure if this is just thing the cult has, but oh damn. So yeah, they were sacrificing humans. I'm guessing Dr. W here, his blood is on everything. Oh no, my hands are just never going to be fixed. Nope. There's the guy I was talking about. Yeah, cult doing a bunch of things, killing a bunch of guys. Like what your regular cult, like cults you see in all villain and hero movies and all that stuff. Basically, what they would do. Something I. What else can I explain about? The hospital, I'm pretty sure it's just a hospital for. It might be monkeys? Caves and mines could be just them making us mine for resources they could use. Surface, we've already explained. Sewers is actually a part sort of the main map. If we. This is a long shot. But basically, if you go to city, then there is a sign opposite to like the final line of city where it says sewers, but at the same time it says overflown. So I'm guessing that in the sewers map, it's if we actually went there, if the entrance wasn't overflown. Like if it wasn't overflown, we could probably get to sewers map, which is one of the levels. Oh yeah, Fred. Now, most of the information I got about Fred are actually from YouTube. And by YouTube, I mean the official Scary Baboon channel, where basically 3 episodes showing what they've done to Fred and basically what led up to Fred being this monster. So, how Fred works is Fred was one of the assistants, so they had baboon assistants, Fred being one of them. Fred did a bunch of things, as we can see, for them. Got injected accidentally by a serum. Now, for all we know, it could be the glycon serum. It looks very similar to that, except in its own cartoonish style, because they like to do stuff in a drawn style. And basically, the first out of 3 shorts end with Fred saying no. Because he's had enough, these are dangerous, and all that stuff. So what they do is they extract his brain. Well, no, they no. Hey, forget about that. They put a chip inside of his brain that basically made him obey them. Now, I think this is where the rebellious emotions came from, because in one of the scenes we see Fred in this lifeless corpse just obeying, doing what he said. In the background, we can see a bunch of baboons worried for them. They probably realised that, oh no, they're doing terrible things to us. And they looked genuinely worried. They really looked worried and sad for Fred, which is probably where the rebellious thing came from. And basically, that one ends with Fred accidentally spilling a bunch of equipment. I'm guessing that's his way of saying no again. So, as a final stretch, this lady, oh yeah, the lady's been the one doing all this terrible stuff, like a doctor and all that, has been, as a final stretch, removed his brain. And then, what was after that? I don't. Aye, but long story short, uh, he loses his mind and kills her. And they probably contained Fred after that and just kept him hidden away until us set him free and all the other monsters, letting him roam around, killing everyone, and like we can see inside the forest, other scientists and humans, killing a bunch of them and forcing them to go into this one place. And I think I know where this place is, because if we go to office, we can see a door, and inside the door, we can hear people. We can hear people, and they're screaming. So something bad might have got in there. Could be their deaths. Could be their deaths. Could be them dying. But what I would like to see from Scoboon in the future is them showing us Lab Sector 1 and Sector 2. That would be cool, just seeing what they did there. And I bet one of those is experimenting on humans. Because, like, who would be better than humans than better humans? So, yeah, I think that's all. I'll definitely, like, put some more, maybe a part 2, if I gather more information. Now that I think about it, this was not in an orderly fashion at all. I just spread a bunch of lore and information across the table. You can use that lore for like your own ideas and theories. But that's all for me at this current time of moment. That's like I just said, that's all for me. I'll see you guys later.